So if you need any help regarding this particular certification, I will be helping you out. Apart from that, I did certifications from Kubernetes as well, which is CKA and CKS. One is Certified Kubernetes Administration, another one is Certified Kubernetes Security Specialist. Okay, so I feel that I am the right guy to teach this particular DevSecOps for your profile that you are looking for. Okay, and now I think. So is
Now
someone
I'm
asking
trying
something?
to be more precise on this particular area. Why I'm saying maybe, may not be. இப்போ ரியல் டைம்ல எடுத்தோம்னா உங்களோட ஏடின்ற கான்செப்ட் எடுத்தோம்னா you might be having
Razak, can you please go on mute if you're not talking to me?
Right?
Okay. Yeah. So now you might have seen the syllabus and all. So let me keep it in a simple way, like what are the topics we are going to cover and what are the tools that we are going to cover as part of DevOps and security as well. So let me just, I don't know why it's getting clicked. Yeah. So first of all, maybe few people here who have joined the demo may be coming from IT background or from non-IT background. Okay, so who are looking for profile of Azure cloud. So even one person doesn't know about this particular what is a Linux operating system, it will be tough for you guys to understand the concept. So that's the reason why we are starting with Linux operating system. In the Linux operating system, I will be choosing Ubuntu operating system. Okay, we have different types of operating systems, right? Like Windows, we have Windows desktop, we have Windows server, and then we have Linux desktop, Linux server, then we have Mac, Unix, and all. And we will understand later why we are choosing Linux operating system. Okay, and that too specifically I'm choosing Ubuntu operating system. So you might ask a question, do we need to learn this? Yes. Why? Because whether you are from development background or whether you are from testing background or whether you are from operations background, whatever it is, you need to install some particular tools and you need to know how to manage the operating system and what is the behavior of the operating system. You can't say that that is administrator job, Linux admin will take care of it or administrator will take care of it. In the today's what is the organization, you have to be a multitasker. I hope you know about it. Okay, so you can't say that I don't do this, I don't know about this, I'm not aware of this. Those kind of answers we cannot give to the organization, because for the competition what we have and the limited amount of opportunities what we have, so obviously we need to be a multitasking. That is a known fact for everyone. You can ask your relatives or friends or someone who was already working in this domain. Okay, so coming back to the actual point, so as part of the prerequisites before stepping into Azure DevSecOps, you need to have some fundamentals of Linux operating system and then shell scripting. So we have two different types of languages. One is scripting and one is programming. Does anyone know what is the basic difference between scripting and programming? Just to understand the concept, that's all. A brush up kind of thing. Does anyone is aware of what is scripting and what is programming? Both are different. Anyone knows the answer? Something that you know. No need of any sentence formations, vocabulary and
The
all.
scripting,
Whatever you know.
actually, the scripting will perform some automation tasks.
Okay. A simple way to understand,
And
everybody.
it will perform a specific task.
Okay.
And
Then what
whereas
program does?
I mean,
Scripting
it
it
is a
is the
continuous
small
development.
task.
Go ahead, Razak.
Yeah, scripting actually was a smaller task we able to do, but the large task we can using the program language. That's right.
Any example? Large task in the sense so that everybody can understand.
Logical task means there is a program means, for example, web application development, like that it will be an
Okay.
programming. And then scripting
Yeah.
means there is a small PowerShell script need to run on the VM, like that we have to do the some small PowerShell script. It was example for that one.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Thank you. So let me frame it in this way. If you want to do some particular task on the operating system, then you have to go for scripting language. Okay, when you have to use a programming, I want to develop an web application or I want to develop an software. In those conditions, we have to go for programming language. Okay, so for now, just remember only this particular sentence. One is called as compiled, one is called as interpreted. That we will discuss in the actual session. For now, if you want to do some automation task on the operating system, then we have to go for scripting. It could be if you are working with a Linux operating system, it is called as bash shell scripting. If you are working with Windows operating system, what scripting we have to learn? Any idea from anyone?
PowerShell.
PowerShell.
Virtual, yeah.
PowerShell. Okay, it all depends upon the operating system what you are trying to choose. So since we are talking about Linux operating system, I'll be teaching you bash shell scripting. That is mandate. You cannot skip it or you cannot ignore it. Okay, but I will not be teaching in the early stage of what do you say our classes. I'll be teaching at the end of the all the topics once I discuss all the cloud topics, automation, DevOps, everything is done, right? Then I will talk about shell scripting. If I teach in the early stage itself, someone will get panicked. They'll think that it is tough. I will not be able to learn. Okay, all these things, right? So to avoid that kind of scenarios, I just want to teach this particular scripting at the end of the course. Okay. Now, so this is all about prerequisites, what I'm going to teach before Azure DevSecOps. Well, let's say I completed with this. What is the next step? What I need to learn after this? And then now we need to learn some services that are offered by Azure Cloud. First of all, tell me, does anyone know what is meant by cloud computing? Today, everybody is talking about cloud computing, right? Does anyone know any definition or anything that you know in a simple way to understand what is cloud computing? Then you will understand why we need to learn Azure.
Yeah, actually, we need to manage our environment to the cloud, like VMs, firewall, Fortinets.
Why can't I do it in my local data center? Why can't I maintain my own data center and do this job?
Demand based on the redundancy and then cost, and then for example in the real time you can buy with the one VM and there is some kind of data center, it was cost higher and then you cannot able to extend that one. If you buy the cloud, if you have the anytime based on your needs, you have to customize anytime. For example, you
Okay,
don't
okay,
want immediately you wish to destroy that one.
fine. Yeah. Let me keep it in a simple way. For example, we are able to talk to each other, right? Okay. Now, how we are able to talk to each other? Over the network. So you are using some network at your home. I'm using some network at my home. With the help of internet, we are able to talk to each other. This is called as technology, right? This comes under IT, information technology. But first of all, before I talk about cloud computing, does anyone know what is information technology? Okay, let me answer that as well. Okay, so information technology is all about transferring the data, storing the data is called as information technology. What is the example for that? Now we are able to talk to each other. How? With the help of internet. Internet is an technology. For example, mobile phones, hard disk, laptops, all this is called as technology that was developed to store the information or to transfer the information. Earlier, what we used to do, we used to write a letters, right? Postal cards or something like that. There we used to write some language on the card. Your machines can understand only binary language. Now this binary language will be transferred from one system to another system or one device to another device over the network. That is all about information technology. Now in this information technology, now we need to learn what is meant by cloud computing. What is meant by cloud computing? I'll give a better example for you, which you are using on daily basis. Maybe everybody who is sitting at different geographical locations, you are using internet, right? What is our internet service providers? Maybe Airtel, Geo, the broadband services I'm talking about, Airtel, Geo, BSNL, Exitel, or let's say Act Fiber, and your local broadband services as well, according to your geographical location. Okay, what they are trying to, what those people are called as, what they are technically called as. Does anyone know the technical name? See, I'm not teaching something new, which you are already aware of and you are using it. What
Service
is mean
provider,
by?
internet service provider, ISP.
Exactly. So it is called as internet service provider. What does it mean? He is providing internet at your home. He is a service provider. So what he is doing right now, he has done the setup. How to give internet to you? He has done the task. Means he has done the setup, all the infrastructure, hardware, everything he has maintained. The people, maintenance, everything, right? Okay, everything he has done. So for the plan what you have chosen, you are paying the charges only for that, right? I'm paying the charges only for the service what I'm using, nothing but the plan what I've chosen, right? Are you paying the salaries for the employees of the broadband service providers? No. Are you paying for their infrastructure? Are you paying for their hardware, for their travel expenses and other maintenance and all? No, that is not my responsibility. He is providing a service and I'm paying the charges only for the service what I've used. Similar to that, these cloud computing will offer. Now let us talk about cloud computing. You understood about, I hope you understood what is internet service provider. Okay. Now let us talk about, so that now you will understand what is cloud computing. Providing on-demand IT resources over the internet is called as cloud computing. So what are the cloud computing services we have? Azure, it is from Microsoft. We have AWS, we have OpenStack, we have GCP, we have IBM, we have what we have? DigitalOcean. There are many service providers. What are those called? Cloud service provider. Those are called as cloud service providers. Everybody will offer their own services, but underlying technology will be the same. Now, since we want to learn Azure, we are talking about Azure Cloud Services. So what are the services we have to learn under Azure Cloud? I will display the names. Maybe you will not understand now, but these are the list of services what we are going to discuss. One is Microsoft Entra ID, Virtual Machine, VNet, Friend Door, and we call it as Load Balancer, Azure Disk, Azure Files, and we have Azure Blob Storage, Azure Tables, Azure Container Instances, Docker and Kubernetes. That is also important for your career nowadays. Azure Container Apps, Azure Container Registry, and then Azure Kubernetes Service. Your focus has to be more on these particular four services: Azure Container Instances, Azure Container Apps, Azure Container Registry, and Azure Kubernetes Services. Now, these particular four services, Azure Disk, Azure Files, Azure Blob, and Azure Table, this comes under storage. This comes under load balancer. This comes under networking. This comes under compute, virtual network, sorry, virtual machines. And then authentication, authorization is all about Microsoft Entra ID. So for every requirement, we have a service that is offered by Azure. So we need to learn them one by one. So once you learn all the services, we need to do monitoring as well, because you are running a lot of services for your organization and it becomes too complex to monitor them individually. So I need a centralized dashboard where I can capture the entire data of all my services, what I'm managing in my Azure cloud, and so that I can see and I can take a necessary action according to the data that is fetched in the Azure monitor. So monitoring is also so important for us. After the entire deployment is done, I need to monitor my services. What is the status? Are everything is fine or not? I need to monitor, right? So we need to learn about that as well. After that, content delivery network. We call it as CDN, content delivery network. Nowadays, AHA applications, Netflix, Disney Hotstar, or when you see the live matches, right, IPL or Test cricket or something like that, right? Those applications are using CDN, content delivery network. Okay, we'll talk about that in detail. And then Azure Web Application Firewall. See, when you have an application that has been developed, there will be many attacks. Just a second, guys. I'm getting some background noise. Guys, please go on mute when you're not talking with me. So try to understand. I don't have a control to mute. Okay, thanks for that. So here web application firewall is all about when you're exposing your application to the internet, there will be many cyber attacks. They'll do some particular hacking, they will try to do some DDoS attacks, or they will try to inject some data in your application, like we call it as phishing. So these are some technical terms in the hacking. So in order to avoid your resources or applications which are running on Azure cloud from these attacks, we need to use web application firewall. Okay, so this comes under security. There are many services in Azure cloud which comes under security. I will talk about them individually. And then we need to talk about other services like Microsoft Defender for Cloud, and then virtual machine scale set, and then Azure DNS. After that, we have ARM templates and Azure SQL. So these are the major services that we are going to discuss in the Azure cloud. Okay, there are other services as well, but these comes under administration. Okay, as part of administration, I'm going to discuss these many services, and you need to know about the integration as well. Remember, I'm showing you only the major service. Under that, we have plenty of sub resources. I'm not showing you that right now. Okay, because you don't know what is that concept. Okay, so under this, we have sub concepts as well. If I display them, it will be almost 50 plus or 60 plus. Now, how many I displayed here? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 3s are 18, 19, 20. So we are learning 20 services under Azure administration. After completing these services, I told you have to focus more on Docker and Kubernetes, containerization technology. Okay, so maybe today I cannot explain what is containerization technology, but many of the organizations, they have already migrated their applications to the container platform, or the new organizations are planning to deploy their applications on the container platform. I'll tell you a simple technology evolution that was happened. Earlier, we used to run our applications on a physical machine. Let me draw a diagram so that you will understand in a much better way. Let me just, yeah, on this one, let me open the paint in the Windows system. For example, earlier we used to have a physical machine. Physical machine in the sense, for example, imagine like your PC or a laptop. Imagine like that. Since you don't know what is physical machine right now, but for now you can correlate with that. Okay, so when I talk about in detail about cloud computing, you will understand what is the actual physical machine. So we can call it as physical machine or physical server. We can call it as physical machine or physical server. I'll tell you later what is server, everything. I'll discuss each and every point. Not to worry about it. Sorry. Physical server or machine. There's a problem with mouse. That's okay. Keep it like that. Now on this particular physical machine, in order to run application, what we will install? Any idea from any? If someone has some idea.
OS.
Before deploying, yeah, OS, operating system. So what is the mandate for us? We need to run operating system. So without running operating system, you cannot run a program or you cannot run a software. Anything, right? So if you want to run it, we need to install operating system. So since we are talking about Linux operating system, let us say we deployed a Linux operating system here. Okay, Linux OS. Let me just increase the font. There is a problem with the mouse, so it is getting double clicked. That's okay, you can ignore. Yeah. Linux operating system. After that, what we will install? Anything? Does anyone know anything else?
Software.
Software or a runtime. We call it as runtimes or web servers. We call it as servers. Okay, so let me keep it so simple. You will be deploying some runtime or some particular service. Not only application servers, you have database servers, many things, middleware, memcache, DNS. There are many things. Technically, we call them as workloads. There is a technical terms. I will teach you one by one. No need to worry. See, even though you don't have any knowledge in IT, you are coming from non-IT background, I'll be teaching you from scratch. All the technical terms, how to set up this, where to practice. You don't need to spend any amount for this. At a free of cost, you can practice all the technologies except Azure Cloud. Azure Cloud, we can get a free trial account. That I will tell you how to do it. Let us say we have a runtime. Let me just runtime, and here let us say servers. On top of this, you will run your applications. Then you will run your application. In a single server, you might run one application or more than one application. It all depends upon the organization requirement. So let me keep it as a software here together, or we can say application. There's a problem with mouse. Sorry for that. Okay. Application. Done. Okay. Earlier, long back, 15 years back, 10 years back, right? We used to run our applications like this. So here we have a lot of challenges. I'll discuss about this in detail in the classroom. Now, because we have some challenges in this particular technology, people have developed a software called hypervisor. So I'll tell you later what is hypervisor. To keep it so simple, let me draw a diagram. We have a physical server. Let's say physical server or a machine. Okay. Now, here we will not install any operating system. In the next technology, what they have done, in a single physical server itself, they want to run multiple machines. Those are called as virtual machine. Why? Because if I need to run some applications for my organization on a physical server, it has a lot of maintenance. I need to spend more. So cost, maintenance, and then it is hard to so maintenance and cost. This is a major thing. And it is a single tenant model. Only one customer can run the applications on his server. Okay. Now, to overcome these challenges, what I've told you right now, we have a technology called hypervisor. What the software they have developed to create multiple servers on a single machine? Hypervisor. So the software name is called as hypervisor. What is this? It is a software. Software. Spelling mistake. Yeah. That's okay. I don't want to correct this again. Hypervisor. So what is hypervisor? Let me tell you a definition. You may or may not remember it. That's okay for us for now. Hypervisor is a piece of software to create a virtual machine on top of physical machine. Let us say your company, the client who is given you the project, he doesn't have that amount of that particular budget to create a multiple physical servers to run individual applications. He has a budget constraint. So according to him, I need to provide a solution since I know about the technology. So I gave him a solution that without creating a multiple physical servers on a single server, I can create multiple virtual machines. So every virtual machine will look like an individual, but all are running on the same physical server. But on this physical server, you are running this multiple virtual machines, but every server is individual. Here I can install Ubuntu operating system. Here I can install a Windows operating system. Here I can install Mac operating system. It doesn't matter what hypervisor you are using. Okay, so those are called as virtual machines. Virtual machine, VM. So virtual machine is a machine that is created by a software, nothing but hypervisor. Okay, virtual in the sense what? Right. Okay, I'll give you one more example. Okay, now this particular meeting is called as what? There is a technical term, right? What is it? Virtual meeting. Exactly. So virtual meeting in the sense what? You are sitting in your location, I am sitting in my location, and we are able to talk to each other, or we are able to see each other if I open the camera, right? How is it possible? With the help of a software. With the help of a software. If I don't have this particular software, let's say GoToMeeting, Teams meeting, Google Meeting, WhatsApp video, we don't have these kind of softwares. Then what we need to do? Physically, we should see each other, right? That is called as direct meeting. Okay, direct interaction it is called as. But now, because of this pandemic, everybody got habituated to the online classes. Okay, let us say like that. Now, you are sitting in your location, I'm sitting in my location. If I have internet, that is enough. I can talk to you, you can talk to me. Okay, you can listen to the classes, I can teach the classes, right? So that is called as virtual meeting. But here it is called as mission. So it is a virtual mission. To keep it so simple. Okay. Now, after this particular technology, here also we have some drawbacks. Or we have, let's say there are limitations. I don't call it as drawbacks. There are some limitations on the hypervisor technology as well. Now, the next technology, what we are learning in this particular course or in your career, what you will be working with is containerization technology. Okay. If you want to install containerization tools, you can do it on a physical machine or a virtual machine. So let me write here physical machine or we can say virtual machine. Okay. Now, on this physical machine or a virtual machine, definitely we need to install operating system. Without installing operating system, we cannot install Docker or Kubernetes. Those are the most popular and widely used tools under containerization technology. You might be listening some other tools as well, like Podman, let's say Containerd, Creo. There are many other tools, but the most popular tools which you will be listening continuously is nothing but Docker and Kubernetes. Okay, to install those particular tools, first you need to have an operating system. Without having operating system, you cannot install Docker or Kubernetes. Okay, so let me write here operating system. Operating system. Okay. Oh, sorry, that's fine. Now after that, you have to install some tool. So what are the tools we have? Docker and Kubernetes. For example, I'm saying it. Docker and Kubernetes. Sorry guys. Okay. So do try to understand. So Docker and Kubernetes here. Then you will try to create a container. Imagine it's like a virtual machine. Imagine. But it is not a virtual machine. There are a lot of difference between virtual machine and container. In this container, what you will run? Your application. You will run applications inside it. But on which platform you are running right now? Containerization platform. Okay. So earlier we used to have physical machines. After that we have a hypervisor technology. Now we have containerization technology. So in order to create a containers, we need to create this particular platform to run the applications. A number of applications we can run. Depends upon the resource what you have. Okay. So this is the technology what you have to learn and what you have to concentrate more on this particular training program. Okay, so don't skip this particular topics. This is important for your career. Sorry. This one. What are the topics I have listed here? If you want, you can take a screenshot or anyway the demo video will be given to you. Okay, you can talk to any one of the person who is working on this technology. Take your opinion. I'm not saying you that you should join this particular course for sure. I'm the only person what I'm teaching right now. No. Try to compare with someone. Try to show this particular demo video to someone and ask them whether he is trying to cover all the topics or not. Okay, or listen to the join the course for 4 to 5 days, or let's say 3 days. Not more than that. Organization will not allow you. So let's say join for 3 days. Listen to the topics and see whether you are comfortable or not. Then only take a decision. So Visualpath will never force you to join the course on hook or crook, like pushing you from backside. No, it's all your decision because it is your career and you have to sustain in the IT industry for longer period, not for short term, right? So if you want to sustain for longer period, fundamentals are the most important. My way of teaching will be all about fundamentals. If you are strong in fundamentals, right, rest of the things you can learn on your own, for sure. Okay, trust this particular words. If you are strong in the fundamentals, you can learn any topic. In future, my guidance is not necessary. Okay, you can learn a new topics and new tools, because IT will never end here, right? There will be new softwares, new tools, new technology that will come into existence. So you will be able to understand the new technologies as well. Okay, so that's the reason why we are teaching from scratch. Now, after completing all the services and topics, what I'm going to teach next? The important one is nothing but DevOps services. DevSecOps I've written here. First, I'll be covering DevOps services. What are those? Azure repos, which is called as version control system, Git. Okay, you might have heard about it. Whether you are a developer, whether you are an operations team, whether you are a tester, whether you are a manager as well, okay, or you are a scrum master, what are the department you are, you need to have some basic knowledge on Git repository. Git is a tool, but you need to know what is version control system, what is a distributed version control system, what is centralized version control system, Git comes under which category. So you need to learn all this. I'm talking about those fundamentals. I can directly jump into Git and I can tell you what are the Git commands we have, but that doesn't help you in a longer run. Okay, that's the reason I'm telling you I'll be teaching you from scratch. Okay, next, after completing this tool, next we need to learn about Azure pipeline. So Azure pipeline is all about automation. Now, what are the tasks you are doing it manually? We have to automate that particular process. So how will you automate? By using CI/CD pipeline. CI/CD is a technical term, continuous integration and continuous delivery or deployment. Okay, so to do that particular task, CI/CD, we need to learn Azure pipelines. And after that, I'll be teaching you Azure artifacts. Repos are different, artifact is different. Okay, in an artifact, we can store images, we can store packages, we can store, let's say, files, we can store binaries, we can store any format of files. That is called as artifact. In a repository, we don't store software, we don't store images, we will store only the code, we will say files, that's all. So you need to understand what is the difference between repos and artifacts. Okay. Next, we will be learning about Azure boards, because when you are working in a SDLC process, software development life cycle, whether you are from DevOps team or DevSecOps team, how the work will be distributed in the organization? Tickets, right? So those particular tickets will be assigned to the users, means our team members who are working on the project. So where I can manage all these things, creating a ticket, what you have to work on this, what is your progress, I need to report, right? How I will report them? By using Azure boards. Okay, like a Jira tool, what you might have heard, few people might be working on IT industry, you might have heard about Jira tools, okay, Kanban board and all. In Azure, they are providing their own tool, which is called as Azure boards. And then I'll be talking about Microsoft Defender for containers, which is part of security. And then Microsoft Defender for Kubernetes. So I'll be teaching about containers as well as Kubernetes as well, both of them, which comes under security. And then after that, we have a non-cloud DevSecOps tools. What are those I'll be teaching you? One is Prometheus and Grafana monitoring tools for Kubernetes. What are the applications you are running on containerization tools like Docker and Kubernetes, especially Kubernetes right now? What are the applications you are running? I want to pull the logs and I want to pull the metrics on the Kubernetes cluster. So what are the monitoring tools we are going to learn? Prometheus and Grafana. You might ask me a question saying that what is meant by Azure Monitor? Azure Monitor is all about monitoring the services on Azure Cloud. I am talking about monitoring the applications that are running on Kubernetes cluster, inside the Kubernetes cluster. Okay, so there is a lot of difference between these two. That I'll be teaching you, and I'll be talking about Git, which I've already told in Azure repos, and then Ansible configuration management. And then I'll be teaching you Terraform, which is the most important. Out of this entire course, you have to concentrate more on Docker, Kubernetes and Terraform for sure. Okay, so that will be your first priority. I'm not saying you that other services you have to ignore and other tools you have to ignore. No, I'm saying you that that is your high priority. And then I'll be teaching you SonarQube as part of static code analysis. We call it as SAST. Okay, and then I'll be teaching you some security tools as well. What are those? Trivy, Docker security using CIS, and then Kubebench. I'll be talking about Kubelinter. All these particular tools comes under security. These are especially for Docker and Kubernetes. Because when you are using that particular platform, how you can prove me that this particular platform is secured to run my application? Client will ask you, right? Then what you will answer? You need to use these kind of tools to send them a report saying you that your application, what we are running on the platform, is secured. Okay, secured from what? Attacks, vulnerabilities, phishing, and everything. Okay, now those kind of vulnerabilities will be identified by these particular tools. Like Trivy is a main tool. What we'll be using for vulnerability? Whether your platform is secured or not will be identified by Kubebench, Kubelinter, and Docker security. Okay. After learning all these particular services and tools what I've listed right now, we will be doing some automation. We have to integrate all the services. Now you not understand this one. It looks like a matrix, but after learning all the services, we have to create some automation. Nothing should be done manually. That automation we are going to implement with all the services and with all the tools what we have learned in Azure Cloud. Okay, and we will be doing some projects as well. So this is our DevOps roadmap. We need to learn each and every tool. From every category, we need to pick one tool. Okay, so what I've already shown you right now, but this is the DevOps roadmap. If you want to be a DevOps engineer, what I need to learn? These are the categories and those are the tools what we have. Okay, and then after completing this course, what are the job roles I need to look for? One is Azure Solution Architect, Azure DevOps Engineer, or Cloud DevSecOps Engineer. Okay, you can search for any profile. Means I can search for any jobs which are relevant to it. Okay, and we are going to deploy a live application. Then you might be asking about what is a project that you are going to show us. See, some people might want to add some fake experience or whatever it is. That is your personal need. Okay, so when you're adding some personal or fake experience and all, right, you have to prove them that you worked on a application. You have to showcase. See, whether they will identify it or not, that is a secondary thing. But first of all, you have to showcase, right? Saying that I worked on this is the application what we deployed. Okay, this is the tools what we have worked with and all, right? How will you showcase them? Only when you deploy a live application. Okay, so that live application what we are going to deploy is K8s Engineers. That is our Visualpath application. If you want, you can search in Google as well. K8sengineers.com. Okay, so this application is developed by using React, Node, and then PostgreSQL database. Okay, I'll be showing you how to deploy this particular application on Azure Cloud after learning all the services, so that you'll get some live experience. Okay, and this experience you can add it in your resume. Okay, resume building, everything I will take care of it. And moreover, if you see, everybody might say that okay, you might be teaching very good in the starting 3 classes. After that, you may not be taking care of us, or you might be going hurry and burry in completing the syllabuses and all. You might have this particular doubts, right? Okay, if you really have any doubts in my teaching and all, I'm giving I'm just saying you in an open way. So go to that particular YouTube channel called Sudhi DevOps. Try to listen to the videos and try to listen to the technology what I've teach over there, and see whether you are able to understand the way of my teaching or not. See, if you are comfortable, then only you will understand. So don't join this particular course for the namesake of someone told me this Azure DevOps is good, I'm joining for it and all. No, first you need to have an interest. See, why company will pay you more salary? Only when you are fit to that particular job, or when you have a good amount of knowledge on that particular technology. For namesake, you will not get 12 lakhs package, 8 lakhs package, 20 lakhs package and all, right? So don't listen to this particular fake words. Salary depends upon the the amount of knowledge that you have, and the amount of experience what you have. Okay, it all depends upon those criteria and the budget of the organization company as well. According to that project, what is the budget they have, they will give you only that amount of salary. Okay, they will not give beyond that. Okay, so all these are known factors. We cannot hide it, to be frank. Also, I'm keeping you openly on that particular scenario right now. Okay, so this is the syllabus what I'm going to cover as part of Azure DevSecOps. And daily we'll be taking only 1 hour session. I think it will be on the same time, 8 to 9 p.m. IST, Indian Standard Time. And when it is going to start, Visualpath will intimate you. Please drop your email and contact number in the chat room to the Visualpath. So they will reach you out. Okay, when this course is going to start. So how long it will take to complete the syllabus? 3 months. For sure 3 months, because I need to cover these many topics, right? Each and every topic I have to explain practically, not theoretically, right? See, theoretically I will teach you only 20%. 80% I will be teach you practically. Okay, so that's how the topics which I'm going to cover. Now I can have a QA. If you have any doubts regarding this particular topics that you're expecting something else, you can talk now. Or if you have any doubts, you can talk to me.
Will you be teaching about how to use GitHub as well?
GitHub? No. Why? Because I'll tell you. See, you need to learn any one of the pipeline. See, so you're talking about GitHub, right? GitHub Actions or GitHub?
Just GitHub, like how to
See,
upload things there.
GitHub is nothing but Azure repos. GitLab, GitHub, Azure repos, AWS code commit, all these are, I'll tell you one simple example. Gmail, Yahoo, Rediff. What are these called?
It's a website.
What are these called? Email services, right? Do you know how to send an email and receive email? Everywhere it will be the common thing, right? Send, receive and all. Similar to that, the underlying topic will be the same. The Git CLI commands what I teach will be working in GitHub, Azure repos, AWS code commit, GitLab, other tools as well. Okay, only where you are storing the code is getting different. You might store the code in the GitHub, you might store in the Azure repos, you might store in the AWS code commit. Okay, the target could be different, but the commands will be the same.
So you mean like GitHub is another similar tool like Git?
Yes, another tool. Not another tool, another platform to store your code.
Okay.
Yeah,
But the action stuff.
Actions are different. Action is all about CI/CD. If you want to do CI/CD pipeline on GitHub, it is called as GitHub Actions. In Azure, it is called as Azure Pipelines. In AWS, it is called as AWS Code Pipeline. In open source, we call it as Jenkins. Everybody does the CI/CD.
Yep.
I hope it is answered.
Yeah, hi, Sudhir, Amit here. Amit here. Sudhir, just I need to know actually, like you will be teaching us the like Azure repos, YAML files, everything in the course.
Yeah, that is common. That is mandatory, right? YAML,
Okay.
because you're talking about Azure pipeline.
Yes, Azure pipelines. Yep, correct.
Azure pipeline. What happened is earlier we used to use Classic, if you know about it. Now they have removed it, and now we are using YAML approach for CI/CD. So I have to teach YAML fundamentals, right? How to write a YAML file, what is a YAML file. These basics I have to teach, because in Kubernetes also we have to use YAML. In Docker Compose also we have to use YAML. Okay, that's a mandate thing.
Okay, so you will be teaching only the basic, or you will be teaching some giving some examples in that?
Examples, not basic level. This is all about, that is important. See, as if you are working. So with my teaching content and all, you can add 1 to 5 years of experience.
Okay. Why? Because just because in few classes or means in few courses something they will be telling only we'll be teaching only the comments. So in that case, like it will be not
that
useful
doesn't
for
help
us.
you. To be frank, that doesn't help you. If you don't know how to write a CI/CD pipeline on your own, you will face a lot of challenges.
So that's why, because teaching only the comments means it will definitely will not use for anyone. So that's the thing. I'm just
not at all. 0%. 0%.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Got it.
You can't even add 1 month experience as well. That silly thing it
That's
is.
good. Yeah.
Teaching only YAML. Everybody can teach. See, my experience is not necessary. You can go to YouTube
Oh,
channel and see what is
mhm.
pipeline YAML.
Okay. Okay, fine. Yeah, thanks, Sudhir. I got to know that. Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome. I think
Sudhir,
Srinivas was.
So,
yeah, are you going to teach this Conjure also?
No, no. What are the topics I've shown? I'll be teaching only that. Apart from that, I'll not go anything outside of it. Technology wise, I'll be teaching everything. The fundamentals and everything, I'll go out of syllabus. But the new tools
And
and topics, I'm not going to teach. Sorry for that.
okay, and what about this ELK and all? That also you are not covering.
ELK, I'm not covering. Why? Because I'll tell you, there is a reason behind that. Because that particular topic is covered in Azure Monitor itself. Okay, so
Okay,
we don't need to go for ELK.
okay, because nowadays the organizations are using this Datadog and ELK only.
Yes, Datadog is the pricing is too high. I think most of the companies are not using too much of Datadog. It all depends upon the size of the organization. If the size of the
Okay,
organization is too high, size in the sense not number of people, the number of applications they deploy. Okay, so it all depends upon that. They'll decide whether they go for Datadog or whether they go for open source like ELK or whether they go for Azure Monitor. In Azure Monitor itself, we have logs. We can capture them
yeah,
from the containers.
yeah. Even from the pods also we can able to get the logs
Yeah.
also, but
Pod containers, all these particular containers and pods. Pod is nothing but a container, to be frank. Okay, I'll tell you
yeah,
what is it in the syllabus. But these all are containers. The application which is running inside the container, I need to capture the logs. That's the reason why we use ELK, right? That is going to be
yeah,
done by Azure Monitor.
okay,
You got the point, right?
yeah. And one more thing, like what are the real-time issues that we will get? That one also you are going to
Every
teach, or
topic, every topic, I'll give you the task. You have to do the task. That task will give you some real-time knowledge. That is for sure.
okay,
Every topic when I complete, right, we have a Google Classroom. If you want, I will show you because you asked about it. Let me show you. Just a second, let me open another browser. Yeah. So for every batch, right, to share all the topics from classroom.google.com. You can see my batches. So the current batch is Azure DevOps May batch. I used to give the task from here. Where is that actually? Sorry, this is a new batch, right? Sorry, this one. Where is it? Sorry, this one. You can see here. What happened? Where is the task? Oh, sorry, here as well. So this is how I used to give the task. Okay, you can see this one as well. Old batches, I have a lot of tasks. You can see like this. Okay, in this I'll write the questions, what you have to answer. So people have to submit. You can see how people are doing it. See, everybody will ask task and everything, right? Finally, they will not submit. You know what is a fact, right? That's it. So every topic I will cover, for every topic I'll give the task. That is for sure. You guys have to be in a position to answer them or do that particular task. At least an initiative. That's what I'm looking for.
and in the
Yeah.
Prometheus, are you sharing this the queries that we are using for for the metrics and all?
Grafana. We are
Yeah,
going to
graph.
use Grafana visualization tool to run the PromQL to fetch the data from Prometheus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, Sudhir.
Sham, Suresh, Sham,
Hi,
or
Sudhir.
who is this?
This is Sham. I have one
Okay.
question. Are you going to cover Azure App Service and Azure Functions?
Azure Apps. Yeah, App Services I have not written here. Sorry, maybe my mistake. Let me just see it back. Have I not written that? Oh, web apps have not written. See, web apps I'll be covering it. That is for sure. Sorry for that. I'll be adding it here. So Azure web apps we have to cover and Azure functions as well. The particular two topics I have not written here. Maybe I missed it, but those two services also will be covered. Yeah. Thanks for reminding it.
Thank you.
Sudhir garu, so
Yeah.
this is Suresh. So you mentioned about DevOps, repos, and pipelines using
Yeah.
GitHub, right?
Yeah.
So will you be is there any chance like you can
Not GitHub, not
connect it to
GitHub.
the Visual? Okay, Visual Studio or something.
Visual VS Code. So we'll be using it.
Okay.
We will be using VS Code. That is an IDE tool,
Okay. Is
interactive
there any
development
difference
toolkit, right?
between? Okay. So,
See, Visual Studio is all
uh,
about, from services we can spin up and manage from Visual Studio. VS Code we will be using to write the
okay.
code, write YAMLs, JSONs, some programming, okay, or scripting, or maybe some JSON files. For that, we will be using VS Code. We can also integrate some services from VS Code as well. For example, I've written the YAML file. Now I want to deploy that YAML file into my Kubernetes. Okay, I can run the commands from VS Code itself. We can do a lot of
Okay.
things. Yeah.
Similar way you can do it from Visual Studio also. Is it Visual Studio and VS Code?
Visual
I mean,
Studio I'm not
I'm
going
just
to
asking
cover.
very basic.
No, I'll be covering only VS Code, not Visual Studio.
Okay. 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 Thank you.
Yeah, Thiru, and you raised a hand. Any questions from you? Thiru?
Hello. Hello, Sudhir.
Yeah.
Yeah, hello, Sudhir. Yeah, am I audible?
Hi. Yeah, yeah. I can hear you.
Yeah, you tell Ansible, right? Configuration management.
Yes, Ansible. I will be going to cover playbooks, roles, modules, except Ansible Tower.
Okay, you're going to use, yeah, Ansible Galaxy you're going to be teach, right?
Yeah,
That
Galaxy.
means
To create a roles, right? Templates. We have to create a role template. So obviously we have to use Galaxy.
role responsibilities and repositories. Yeah,
Yes.
I have a
Except
one.
Ansible Tower, I'll be teaching
You're
everything
going to be
in
teach
Ansible.
this Docker and
I
yeah,
think
okay.
you have
And
seen this
one
slide,
more
right?
thing,
I'll be going to teach
you're going
Docker
to
and
be teach
Kubernetes.
Docker and Kubernetes also.
I hope you are able to see the screenshot right now.
So
So I'll be going to cover
yeah,
these many topics in Docker and Kubernetes. What are the topics that are important for your career in Docker and Kubernetes? I'm going to teach all of them in this Docker and Kubernetes. If you want, you can take a screenshot to refer with something else.
one more thing. Can you teach in different environments? Yeah, like a dev environment, QA and staging and production.
No, those many environments we
Hello.
cannot create. See, that environments we cannot
Yeah.
replicate it. That will not be possible. No.
Sorry.
See, that environments we cannot replicate it, right? Production in the sense what? It is a live application. How we can create a live application?
Okay, okay. At least you're going to don't take any live
At least a
application. At least do
replication.
you have
That's
any
what I
other
told, right?
projects?
Live project. Yeah, live project I'm going to show you. In that, I'm going to create one environment and I'm going to deploy that particular application on it with necessary services.
Yeah, even see even live project also continuous deployment or delivery. There is a environment will be there. They need to pass that those environments, right? Dev,
See,
QA, and testing and
environment.
staging, and then go.
See, environment
Yeah,
is not
like
about.
that I'm asking.
Okay, I understood. Environment is not about where it is a production or whatever it is, whatever we call according to the
Okay.
organization. Okay, so organizations might have dev, they might have QA, they might have pre-production, they might have production. Okay, many
Pre-production staging,
environments, right?
yeah, that yeah, many environments will be there. At least you can show how to
Ah,
configure those environments by using these Azure pipelines and all those things.
that
Because
environment I
configuration
have
is
to
very
cover.
important, right? To connect
Okay,
one to another one, right?
okay, let me complete. If you are talking about Azure pipeline environment, yes, I'm going to cover that. That is for sure, right? I have to cover it
In that pipeline only, it will become right. Dev
in that
environment QA
pipeline.
like that. I'm asking.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. In the pipeline itself, we are going to
Yeah.
first talk about CI, continuous integration.
Okay.
When I talk about continuous
Yeah.
delivery and deployment, I'm going to show you that environment, how to deploy it.
Okay. And one more thing is, you are going to be teach Terraform, ARM templates.
Yes,
You're going to do
Terraform as well.
Terraform as. And that means you are going to be Terraform all modules like a Terraform.tf or Terraform.providers.tf, main.tf,
Variables,
output.tf,
everything,
like that. All modules.
everything. I'll be talking about modules. I'll be talking about blocks. I'll be talking about data source. I'll be talking about meta arguments. I'll be talking about variables. In variables, again, we have three topics. I'll be talking about
Yes,
module.
yes.
I'll be talking about everything in Terraform CLI. But we are not going to talk about Terraform Cloud.
Okay, Terraform CLI.
Yeah.
And sorry, Sudhir, just I'm Amit here again. So can we practice even ourselves also, right, after classes, after
Yeah.
demo things, everything?
Whatever I'm showing you right now, except few Azure services, you can practice on your local system. No need to purchase anything. No need to spend any single rupee on additional things. You can practice in your local system. I'll tell you how to do it and how to configure as well. Don't worry about that.
Okay, fine. Yeah, thanks. Thanks.
Is there any special system configuration needed for installing the
System configuration, if you are planning to purchase a laptop or some system like that, better go with 4-core CPU and 8 GB RAM minimum.
Can you repeat again? 8 GB RAM and what was the other one?
4-core CPU, 4-core CPU, and more than 8 GB RAM. 16 GB would be better one, because for lower price only we are getting 16 GB. You can go for 16 GB RAM and 4-core CPU.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm again this. Yeah, do you are going to be teach that CI/CD pipelines as a 3 type or 2 type?
Sorry?
You're going to be
3-tier
teach 3
application.
tier or 3 tier
3-tier,
application?
because we have React, Node, and PostgreSQL database, right? 3-tier application.
Yes, PostgreSQL is relational database only, right? Okay.
PostgreSQL is all about relational database, like MariaDB, MySQL.
Okay. Yes, MySQL like that. Okay, understood.
Yeah. All these
Okay,
comes
thank
under
you.
relational
Thank you. My
database.
side completed.
You're welcome. Welcome. Is it Sagar or Arvind?
Thank you, man.
Someone asking something.
Yeah, Sagar. Sorry, Sudhir,
Yes, Sagar.
I have a general question. I have 10 plus years of experience. What do you recommend?
In which domain? Sorry. You have 10
Azure,
years
yeah,
experience
I
in
have
which domain?
system administration with big data, Hadoop administration.
Okay. Hadoop, right? More of
Yes.
a database kind of and storage?
No, Hadoop administration.
Only
It's
Hadoop. Okay.
distributed. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
what do you recommend? Is it Azure or AWS or GCP? And how many years of experience we can put on this DevOps?
In currently you're working with Hadoop on open source, or let's say on your any cloud?
I
Azure cloud
have,
itself?
yeah, I have experience with the GCP, AWS, Azure as well. Basic
Okay.
experience. In real time
Okay.
physical servers only. But what do you recommend in Indian market?
See, Indian market is all about, let me tell you the actual strategy. Most of the people are not using Azure as of now due to the market situation and all, but underlyingly, many companies have started using Azure cloud. Okay. AWS is there from the market from long back. That's the reason most of the organizations has AWS used, and few companies are migrating or they started using Azure, because Azure provides a lot of licenses like Teams meeting, Office 365, and Active Directory. Other benefits are there, right, which is not available in AWS. So few organizations are looking for Azure, and we have only few people who has good amount of experience in Azure cloud, to be frank. So I would say choose a where has a less competition, right? So that you'll have a better opportunity. Okay. It's not that less people are there. No. Most of the organizations started using Azure cloud as well. So you'll have a better opportunity.
But when I search in Naukri, right?
If you see, Azure cloud is little bit hierarchically, it is bit complex because they have a lot of stages. Whereas AWS is pretty simple because they have less hierarchical structure. That's a simple way to understand. So now it's up to your call. See, I cannot tell you, right? I'm teaching both of them, AWS and Azure. So if
After
you
completing
ask
this
me,
course,
yeah,
how many years of experience we can opt and
I would say for you, you can add 5 years. Since you're already working with 10 years of experience, right? Just add 5 years experience in this particular, but you have to balance that. in the interview, right? See, experience we can add 5, 10 and all, but according to the questions, you have to be in a position to answer them. Okay, how they will ask you the questions, what kind of questions will be asked, I will tell you. But you have to practice. Okay, if you practice only, then only get how this particular service works, how the functionality works. If you don't practice and if you try to add 5 years of experience, that doesn't balance when you go for interview.
So
Why?
there was,
Sorry.
but most of the organizations are moving to OpenShift only, no?
OpenShift is all about different thing, right? That is a Red Hat Kubernetes service, right?
Yeah.
You're talking about only Kubernetes. Is that your question?
Yeah.
Okay, let me tell you. I have never worked with any cloud of Kubernetes until 3 years of Kubernetes experience. Yeah, I worked in only open source. They're spinned up in my organization. I'll tell you, I'll not disclose the name, but we have almost 40 servers in the cluster where we are using KubeADM tool to spin up our Kubernetes cluster, and we are running 5G network on it. Okay, it all depends upon the project. Okay, according to their comfort, what they have, the license, there are many things. Okay, so most of the organizations are not running on Red Hat OpenShift. They are running on EKS as well, AKS as well,
Yeah.
GKE as well. Different. Okay, they'll not choose only one service, right? They have other services as well. According to that, they will take a decision. Maybe you heard about Red Hat because the people might have habituated to use Red Hat services. That is the reason. That could be one of the reasons.
Okay. No,
If
if
you
you are
want
moving to
statistics,
an
you can
organization and they have given directly to work under a different, like apart from Kubernetes,
understood.
in that case,
I
what?
understood your concern. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
To answer that, maybe initially you might face some challenges, but what is pod, what is container, how to create a container. After the Kubernetes cluster has been spinned up, what is the command we use? kubectl. That will be common for all the Kubernetes platform. For Redshift, Red Hat OpenShift, we might be using OC command. That's all.
Yeah, only command.
Okay. OC command. That's all. But you need to write a YAML file. You need to create a pod. You need to create a secret. You need to create a deployment. That will be common thing. You understood now? Same like one of
Yeah.
the person has asked, well, are you teaching GitHub? Git CLI commands will be the same, but where you are storing the repository, where you are creating the repository might be differed. Same applies here as well for Kubernetes.
Hey, hi Sudhir,
And is
Sagar
there
here.
any package manager also available in this course,
No,
like
no, no.
Helm?
See, that will become too heavy, and that too I need 4 months or 5 months like that. If I need to add all of them, like Helm chats and other things as well, GitOps.
Okay.
If you are
For
really interested to learn about them, if someone is interested to learn about those kind of additional tools, I would recommend. I've already created my recordings in ktengineers.com. Okay, so if you are planning to learn, let's say Helm chats and all, you can learn it from here. Okay, you need to log in first, then you can learn from here as well. Like Helm chats, I've discussed all of them here. I'll show you one. Helm chats somewhere here is available.
Sudhi, sorry to interfere. Just one question from my side.
Hmm.
So actually, what is the flow you will be teaching? Like you will be completing the Azure administrator works after the CI/CD or
After
after
that, Azure, yeah.
administrators?
After that, Azure DevOps, and then followed by open source tools and security.
Okay, so means Docker and Kubernetes when we'll be covering like after administrative or after CI/CD
Mid,
phase?
no, no,
Mid.
in the mid of administration.
Okay, okay, got it. Okay.
Yeah. Because first of all, you need to know what is Microsoft Entra ID,
Yeah, yeah.
storage services, and then virtual machine, and then
Mm-hmm.
few other services, virtual network. After that, I will
Okay.
start with Azure Docker and Kubernetes services.
Okay, fine. Okay. Okay.
so
Thank
how many days we are going to spend on Kubernetes and Terraform, Sudhir?
So it depends. If I get in middle, if I get a holidays, right? So I cannot give a specific number, but on the count, if I need to tell, for Kubernetes, I will take 10 days. For Docker, I will take 4 to 5 days. Kubernetes, I think not 10 days. It will take 15 days to complete.
Mhm.
15 days continuously if I take for 1 hour, 15 hours it is.
Okay.
Sudhir, I have a question here. I have in total 8.5 years experience. I'm into .NET and automation stuffs, RPA. Now into
Okay.
AML and Gen AI. So what modules in cloud would help me if I learn from here? Could you please just brief me anything
Relevant
on
to your AI and ML?
yeah, AML, Gen AI?
Here only few services will help you. Other services like Azure Pipelines, Azure Git, these all those services which you have to concentrate in. Though you might be learning AI services and ML services, apart from that, the common services what you need to learn is Azure Pipeline, Azure Repo, Azure Boards, Azure Artifacts. This is DevOps. Okay. Apart from that, if you need to manage the service on Azure Cloud, you need to learn Terraform, because manually we are not going to create in the Azure cloud. Something has to be automated, right? That will be done only by Terraform, whether you are managing AI services or ML services or administrative services or DevOps services. Definitely we have to use a Terraform. So not 100% of services will help you, but 60% of the services what you're learning from this syllabus will help your AI and ML.
Okay. And we have Azure AI as well, right?
Azure, come again.
Azure OpenAI.
OpenAI, yes. But we are not going to discuss that.
Okay. Do you have any recordings here in K8 Engineers or anything?
No. AI and ML related recordings are not available. This is specific only to Docker and Kubernetes, not with a specific platform. And this is all about if you are a absolute beginner, or if you are a software developer, or if you are a DevSecOps engineer, or if you want to be a DevOps engineer, if you are operating system administrator. Based on your profile, we have created a category. What are the topics you need to learn under Docker and Kubernetes? Okay, because every developer no need to learn everything in Docker and Kubernetes, right? So based on that, we have created a category.
Okay.
Is that free, or again we have to purchase all these courses?
No, it's not for free. So you have to purchase. It depends. So entire platform we can call them. So entire platform is for 2,000 rupees. If you want to pick only one, it is, I think it is around 500, or I'm not sure. Yeah, how the billing is. You can see here, right? So it is. Lifetime access it is, not for 1 year, lifetime. You can see some live projects as well. For me to create this particular training program, right, it took almost 1 year to complete all these particular topics from different profiles. I spent almost 1 year. Yeah. So any doubts apart from this?